Well, guys, we got our first massive trade heading into the 2022 NHL trade deadline. Tyler Toffoli goes to the Calgary Flames for a first round pick. Give me a second. Uh, we have Emil Heineman, a prospect from Finland. Tyler Pitlick, who is cousins with Rem Pitlick, and a first round pick. So, guys, we want to hear your thoughts about this deal. Was it a good deal? Was it a bad deal? Did Calgary give up too much, or did Montreal get too little, or maybe they got exactly what they were looking for? But essentially, for you guys who do not know who Emil Heineman is, he's a big and fast skater, according to Renaud Lavoie. He was with the Panthers. He was a second round pick in 2020, and he was part of the Sam Bennett deal in last year's trade deadline. Um, what else can I see here concerning this?
I have his stats as well.
Okay, say his stats.
So I mean, he has 36 games played, and he has 11 goals and 5 assists, so 16 total points this season. He's playing in Sweden.
Okay,
It's pretty, pretty decent numbers. I mean,
he's Finnish or Swedish?
yeah. Well, he's playing in Sweden. I'm not sure what his nationality is. I could double check that. Not too sure. Just let me pull up his stats. Emil. What's his last name? How do you pronounce it? Emil. It's such a tough last name.
Heineman. So it's Heineman.
Emil Heineman.
I'm just gonna continue with this. So Tyler Pitlick, he
He
currently
is from Sweden. Yeah,
oh, he is from Sweden. So my bad.
yeah.
So he's a Swedish player playing in Sweden, not Finland. Okay. So Tyler Pitlick, he's on an expiring contract of 1.75 million. He's going to be a UFA unless the Habs decide to sign him. Um, so we'll see what happens there. I think they probably would sign him because there's so many players that are going to move out of Montreal that they're going to need roster players for next season, right? So
And
I
plus, the
would
whole family's with the Habs now. So
yeah, you have Rhett as well, Rhett Pitlick, who was drafted by the Montreal Canadiens, if I'm mistaken, 2 to 3 years ago. So and then you have Rem Pitlick as well. So you have like a whole family affair. Maybe they're trying to low key pull like a Sedin's situation or like a Sutter situation. Um, let's see what else we have. As you guys know, we're talking on the spot. We're reading the news as we go. Um, as you guys could see right now, the Calgary Flames have posted this. Oh my God.
I
Consider
can,
so
yeah.
it's Tyler Toffoli in a Flames jersey. It looks like they've been connected to Toffoli for a while. There was reports from Elliot Freeman saying that they had Tyler Toffoli penciled in to their lineup heading into towards the NHL playoffs. So people were saying, why trade Tyler Toffoli? Tyler Toffoli has term. He wants to stay here. He's very happy. He has very good chemistry with Ryan Suzuki. For Nick Suzuki, sorry, Ryan plays with the Carolina Hurricanes. So for us, it's somewhat for Habs fans in general and for NHL fans, it's something that makes sense because he has a lot of value. Also, looking at his stats last season, he was one of the top goal scorers in the league, even though they were playing in different divisions. And Toffoli was one of the best players in the Canadian division.
Especially
Um,
against Vancouver.
yeah, especially against his old team, Vancouver. So, that's pretty interesting that Montreal decided to move him first out of all players, knowing that there's Sherratt, there's Petrie, Lehkonen that were more connected to trade rumors than Tyler Toffoli. Tyler Toffoli was one of those players where it was like, we're only going to move him if we get a significant amount in return. So, yeah, we get a first round pick. We get an NHL player, Tyler Pitlick, which by no means he's not a bad player, but he's not amazing. You get Emil Heineman, who's already been part of a previous trade deadline deal. Sorry about that. And there was other guys, there was other prospects that I thought Montreal would have been more keen to acquire. And for Calgary to give up a guy like Heineman, which was never really their prospect because they got him from the Panthers, and they gave up Tyler Pitlick, who was a UFA, and they gave up a first round pick and a fifth, and they got Tyler Toffoli. I'm sorry, Habs fans. I think the Flames won this deal because Tyler Toffoli does have term on his contract heading into next season as well. And you're getting a guy like Tyler Toffoli with already a stacked top six. You have Monahan, you have Goudreau, you have Lindholm, you have
Well, see,
Kachuk,
here's
Goudreau.
where I disagree with you. I mean, I know usually I'm the one that, like, usually the how do I say it? Like I always see the negative in things.
Yeah.
You know, losing Tyler Toffoli, is it a big loss? Absolutely. Uh, in the end, we got him for free. We flipped him for like pretty good pieces. You know, we have two first round picks going into this year's draft. We have a fifth, right? If I'm not mistaken, a fifth next year. Uh, Pitlick, who has 1 year left, 1.7 million. He's 30 years old. He's gonna bring some, leadership to the team. He's a vet, and that's what you need in a rebuilding team. And the prospect that we got, I mean, I don't know much about him, but Jeff Gordon is behind this decision, and so is Kent Hughes. And I don't know if they speak to Martin St. Louis about anything, but if just Jeff Gordon and Kent Hughes, they wouldn't have gotten this player, this prospect, if they didn't think that he would pan out to be something great. And I think in 2-3 years from now, we'll look at this trade and we're going to be like, we fleeced Calgary.
Well, according to the Flames GM Treveling, um, he's been chasing Tyler Toffoli since his days with the Phoenix Coyotes. So, this is a GM, as we see around the league, where like where GMs, I mean, no matter where GMs go, they always have preferences, right? Players they want to acquire. So in this case, this is a guy that they've been heavily keen on to acquire. Look, Tyler Toffoli, in my opinion, very beloved Montreal Canadiens player, and I think he was very, very good. The return, there's just something about it. There's something that when looking into that return, I'm like, you look at the prospects Calgary
Well,
has,
see,
I feel
see,
like they could
here's
have
here's
got
what
more.
here's what I'm worried about now is that there's rumors going around that Lekkonen's worth a first and a prospect, and so is Ben Sherratt. But Tyler Toffoli is better than both of these guys. And the deal we got now, it's not disappointing, but like that's what I expected for like Ben Sherratt, you know.
Like now,
So
so what you're
now I
saying,
feel like reality is starting to kick in, and we'll probably get like maybe a really like far fetched prospect for Lekkonen or Sherratt. And honestly, I don't think Ben Sherratt, we're getting a first round pick out of him. It would it's or if we are getting a first, that's all we're getting. Like I don't see something else coming for Ben Sherratt.
like you had Connor Zary, for example, you had Jeremy Poirier, okay, you had Matthew Coronado, you had Jacob Pelletier, you had Dustin Wolf.
Well,
Those are top prospects, essentially, that I would have thought
to
that by trading a guy like Tyler Toffoli with term, right? And he's one of the best Montreal Canadiens, the most consistent Montreal Canadiens within the last 2 seasons. I would have thought that Tyler Toffoli would have fetched a lot more. And now you're like you were saying, Chris, Lehkonen was rumored to be valued somewhat to what Blake Coleman was valued at when he got traded a couple years ago, a first round pick and a top prospect. Sherrod, a first round and a top prospect. So now Montreal officially set the market because they're sellers, right? They're the first team to make a blockbuster move, in my opinion. Well, it is a blockbuster move by any means. To set the market, they set their own market. So now does this essentially hurt the market moving forward for them, or does this set this reality kick in, like you said, and now players are being traded for what they're actually worth?
well, see, here's Ben. Okay, because I'm going to use the Ben Sherrod example a lot. Lekkonen, I don't see the Habs getting more than what they got for Toffoli. That is out of the question. They're saying that he's worth a first in the prospect. They get that out of your minds. I honestly speak like watching him play, he's a second round at best, and maybe a third included in that. Like I don't see, he's not worth that much for a third line, fourth line guy.
Like for a team
Now
like
for Ben Sherratt, he's very in demand. So that's it. All comes down to what team. If there's more than one team involved, and it's whoever overpays at that point.
so
I
basically
could see happening.
so
But
basically it's all about necessities. Where for example, Tyler Foley scoring wingers, you could basically get that anywhere. But Ben Sherratt, a top left-handed D in this market, it's not
because
as common.
that's what Here's the thing: do I believe they could get more for Ben Sherrod for like compared to what they got for Tyler Toffoli? Absolutely not. I don't think teams at this because I'm very confused at the moment because on one hand you have Tyler Toffoli who's great, and we got like they're good pieces, but they said that Ben Sherratt was worth that, and if Tyler Toffoli is better than Ben Sherratt, then what are we gonna get for Ben Sherratt?
I think it all
Even
comes
though
to
he's in demand,
demands. Lekkinen, defensive
it's
style of player. Defensive player, right? Who plays a very shut down role. Very good for the penalty kill. You don't really have that many players that do such a good job like Lekkinen, right? And before my comparison
doesn't
about like
score though.
Sherrod, yeah, but it's fine because you're gonna add him to a team where there already is scoring established. But Toffoli, like I said, there's many scoring wingers available, but also Tyler Toffoli's contract is not expensive whatsoever. It's affordable. If I'm not mistaken, it's like $4.5 million.
It's yeah, it's well, right now I'm on the
So
Montreal.
like
I'll pull up
I'm
the
like
Calgary
I'm
one.
very confused. I don't know what Habs fans are thinking, but I think Calgary Flame fans are like rejoicing right now.
Yeah,
I think
Tyler
they're
Toffoli,
rejoicing.
4.2 million for the next after this season for another 2 years.
So
So
here's a
yeah,
scouting report from coach Ray Edwards concerning Emil Heineman. It's a development coach. So he said that he's an engine. He works hard. He's always on the puck. He works 200 feet away from the puck, always moving his feet. A high energy player, not afraid of physicality. He'll attack the net. He's really good on the forecheck. He'll hunt down pucks. To me, that's the most impressive thing about him. That he's a young player that isn't afraid to compete against men. He's not afraid to get into tough areas. He's not afraid to attack. He's a very direct player. He wins battles. It's that competitiveness, that energy, and willingness to win races, to be the first on pucks, to drive D wide. He does all that stuff, and he does it at such a young age against way older players. So that's your scouting report on Emil Heineman. That's what you could expect from him moving forward. But here's the thing: will Kent Hughes and Jeff Gordon properly develop him?
I think there's going to be more firings and more changes done to the staff. So I don't know who they're going to bring in. I don't know if they're going to keep the the development team that they have. I hope they don't because there's a horrible track record. But it's all on who they hire, on who or or who they keep and who they hire, and I hope this guy pans out to be whatever they say he should be. The Flames must have seen something in him to go and get him as well at the
Yeah,
same
part of
time.
like part of the Sam Bennett deal for guys who are tuning in right now. Tyler Toffoli has been traded to the Calgary Flames. We want to hear your thoughts. Essentially, who won this deal, and we're just gonna answer Bozo81's comment. The Montreal playoff window is closed for a long time. It's normal to exchange Toffoli. Yes, we totally agree on that statement. Tyler Toffoli, 1 year left. Um, clearly and visibly has made it known that
3 years
was
left.
they signed him last year to a 4 year deal. So,
Well,
yeah,
yeah,
this is
yeah.
second. So he has 2 more years. No,
Well, with this season, technically, yeah, 2 years after this year.
okay, perfect. So yeah, it's perfectly normal to exchange Tyler Toffoli. Yeah. So essentially, Montreal, by making this move, they make it known to the whole league and to the hockey world, the fans, and so on, um, that they're rebuilding. This is the first move of a rebuild. To move a guy like Tyler Toffoli that's so pivotal to Montreal's success within the last uh, 2 seasons. I mean, they're not really successful this season, but a lot of, goals and stuff have contributed on that front, right? And he was very pivotal in the playoffs as well. Last year in the division, he was very good, one of the top players, like we mentioned before. So yeah, that's an important thing to take into consideration concerning Tyler Toffoli. Is it sad? Yeah, it's definitely sad. No one wants to be part of a rebuild, but if it's a successful rebuild, like I would say 2 to 5 years within within their transition period, fans are not gonna really care about this. Right now, it stinks because now it's a reality. They're in a rebuilding mode. Things are being changed within the management as well, concerning coaching, GM, president, scouting, communications as well. Like everything, they're cleaning house, and now
Yeah,
we're seeing it with players.
I wasn't. I heard I wasn't surprised by this trade. Like I knew he was somewhat gonna get traded either now or maybe at the draft or maybe next season or whatever. Because his contract is good, it's cheap, and he did have term. I'm surprised that he was the first one to go.
and the first round pick is top 10 protected. Just wanted to let you guys know
Yeah,
on
but
that.
the chances of them finishing last place are
Yeah.
very slim.
Also, Jacob Markstrom, uh, because they did play together in Vancouver. He's very happy with the acquisition of Tyler Toffoli. He's usually a scorer. He usually scores on me, so I'm happy. So I mean, as you see, the Flames seem pretty happy with this deal. Um, what else can I see here? As we said before, we're going with the news. Um, Flames wanted to add a goal scorer, according to David Pagnotta, and they're at the point where they have to go for it. Good ad for them, and not at a rental acquisition. Habs had Toffoli, Gallagher, and Anderson on the right side. They aren't contending anytime soon. Move makes sense. A very good return. They really like Heineman. So yeah, and okay, so concerning the first round pick that they acquired, so uh yeah, if it doesn't, okay,
Oh, we got another
yeah, answer
question
that question. I'm just
from
gonna continue.
Bozo. It's sad to see that the new DG, for people who don't know French, Directeur Général, General Manager, is going to model a club according to what hockey thinks it is. He will liquidate the light club by Marc Bergevin in less than 3 years. I'm not too sure about the phrasing, but honestly, I think the staff that they currently have is gonna get the job done. I'm not a personal. Everybody who watches the show knows that I'm not a big fan of Marc Bergevin. I was kind of happy the day he left. Uh, but there's one thing that fans of Marc Bergevin don't like to admit, and regardless of the trades that he's done that had that have that that were small but ended up becoming big, when it comes to drafting, when it comes to development, he has the worst track record, I think, in
Yeah,
like
I totally agree.
than anybody in the league. We've drafted 75 players, if I'm not mistaken. I might have to recount that number. 75 players, and I think three are currently in the NHL. I think. And
Yeah,
one what's sad is that our best player, Nick Suzuki, wasn't even drafted by us.
yeah,
That's what stings the
Las
most.
Vegas Golden Knights players. So I mean, look, guys, whether if you're happy with this deal or not, essentially this is a new era in Montreal. We have to get used to it. Habs fans have to get used to it. So expect to be kicked down quite a few times within the next couple of years, but for good reason though, because the Canadians are going to be rebuilding around youth, the development of youth. So there's going to be players that work out for them. There's going to be players that don't work out. That's part of the whole process when drafting players and acquiring young prospects. It's based off development, right? So I mean, a lot of people might be in disagreement with this, but I mean, this is what it is. Just follow up with the first round pick. I finally found more info on that. So it's a top 10 protected pick, like I was saying before. But if let's say it does end up becoming the top 10, which I highly doubt, it becomes a 2023 first rounder and a 2024 fourth round pick. So there's conditions on that first round pick. So look, overall, I think it's a good deal for both teams, but I do think because the Calgary Flames are competing for a Stanley Cup this year, and under Dale Sutter, the Flames have been a very good team this year, the best they've played in years. Um, I think they win the deal for the moment. It really depends on Emil Heineman's development to the Canadians. It depends on who Montreal drafts with that first round pick and the fifth round pick, and yeah, it all comes down to development for the Montreal Canadiens.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. I say it's a win for Calgary now, and 3 years from now, when everything we'll see everything as it is. Maybe it'll switch sides. Maybe it's a win-win, and maybe it's a one-sided. Still, we're only time will tell.
So we just wanted to say, guys, we have concluded our first big deal concerning the 2022 NHL trade deadline. We just want to hear your thoughts. Who wins this deal, the Flames or the Habs? And we want to hear from the fan bases. Habs fans, what are you guys thinking? Flames fans, what are you guys thinking? There's going to be more deals for the Montreal Canadiens. They're not done. This is just the beginning of a rebuild. And whoever doesn't get traded this deadline will get traded during the offseason. But guys, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, check out all our NHL trade destination videos concerning the latest rumors on the top players to be moved heading into this deadline. And yeah, so we'll see you on the next episode, guys. Until then, take care.